If you're into Rotella oil like I am, I mean, basically it's the Busch Light of oils, ladies and gentlemen.
Dropped that, I about died it. Here you go. I got me myself one too.
Alright. Welcome back to Freedom One Garage. It's been a minute since we did a Fergie video. Not a huge one today, guys and gals. We still have hydraulic work to do on it, but for now, we need to service the darn thing. Needs an oil change. And we haven't changed the oil since we've owned it. It's been over the winter. I found some really awesome oil to use for it. I'll share that with you. And I also have a bit of information about the oil filter that you other Fergie owners, early Fergie owners, may be interested in. Now this doesn't have a spin-on filter. The filter is encased within the oil pan. So we're gonna have to come down here, and this guy's gotta, well, there's a drain plug on it. So this guy's gotta drop out of here, and there'll be a paper element inside the pan of the engine. And these old jobs, these drain plugs are square. So, you know, you're gonna have to use the croissant wrench. And there is a plug that you can drain before you take this whole circular thing down. So that's handy. You don't totally get bathed in oil. So we'll pull this plug first. And we had her running for about 15 minutes, got nice and warm. So we'll get a good, there we go. Oil really doesn't look too bad, but like I said, I don't know how long it's been in there. I know it's been in there since we've owned this thing, and we run so good, we certainly don't want to screw it up. It doesn't leak. We've got just a little bit of wetness here. It looks like maybe the front crank seal is starting to weep just a little bit. We're not going to get too excited about that right now. Just because in order to do that, you got to pull the whole front end of the tractor off. We're not doing that anytime soon. It may throw a little bit of a wrench in our plans to maybe paint on this sucker this summer. Now this guy should just drop down and then give us access to the filter. A little more oil coming out. Survey says, oh, that's just the screen. Okay. You get the lid, and then you get a screen. I think we're missing something. There's no filter in this tractor. So wouldn't you know, we are actually missing the oil filter. Now, what does that mean? I mean, it's not the end of the world, because here's the deal. these aren't a filter or bypass type system anyway. And what I'm saying is only a portion of the circulating oil goes through the filter every time it's circulated through the engine. So there's always oil in there, and there's always the possibility for oil through the life of a service interval to never get filtered. However, I sure would just rather have found a filter in there, and it's a little curious as to why there wasn't one at all, just the screen. But that being said, we're gonna press on here. We've got, you know, our screen over here. It's in decent condition, but inside the screen's supposed to go up in here, and then your filter's supposed to go up inside of the screen. So that is how we're going to put stuff together, and I'll show you that. But it's really interesting that whoever serviced this the last time chose not to put a filter in here, and I wonder how many years it's been running without a filter of any kind other than the screen to keep, you know, the chunkity chunks out. Oh, I guess there's always something, isn't there? All right, let's go ahead. We're going to clean out the screen. Let's get this stuff on the bench, and I'll show you what it looks like on the bench. And I'll show you the filter and how it's all supposed to go back together. And hopefully it does. Okay, so here's what we have. We have the screen. This goes up just like this. This is the top. There's a center tube that this bolt goes into and holds all this up, and then there's a side tube that is suction. Oil in the TO-20 tractor goes through the crank, down through this tube. There's supposed to be a hole, and I can't get under there because it's dripping with oil, so I'm not going to look. But there's supposed to be a hole in this tube where oil gets pushed out. And normally there is, well, here, let's look. And while I'm at it, we're going to do a little side note here. You go to the Tractor Supply, and they have the County Line brand of oil filter for the Ferguson. Also fits 9-in, 8-in, 2-in. But the neat part is, once you open the box, the County Line box, you've got a Baldwin P40 filter, which is a quality filter. So anyway, back to this. This guy goes up over that center tube, and oil is filtered inside, from the inside out. Now, is it detrimental to the health of this tractor to have no filter in there? It's not great, but you have to keep in mind this is an old engine, and only so much of the oil goes through the crank and into this hole. The rest of the oil goes through other passages and other ways around inside the engine. So you're looking at an engine that partially filters the oil. The oil doesn't have to go through the filter to circulate through the engine. Yeah, so we're going to take this guy. I went down there and made sure that this is going to hold on to that center tube like it's supposed to anyway. This goes up with the little grab handle down, and we'll put things back together. Now this is our plate, but interestingly, there's a flaw in this metal right here. There's a chip. I don't know how well you can see it, but it's not like, it's not through the whole thing. It's just a flaw right here. So we're gonna put a little bit of silicone just in that area when we put this back on. The rest of it should just seal with the gasket. And these big outside gaskets, from what I've read and stuff on the lines and in the YouTubes, you don't have to change them every single time. We couldn't find one, so we're going to try and do this change without changing this big rubber gasket. If it leaks a little bit, we might have to you know, revisit that. Come on, light, turn back on. So anyway, let's get this filter up in there. We'll put our screen back up in there. It's all cleaned out with carb cleaner. There was some sludge on the inside of this, you know, bottom cover, so I'm glad we are changing out the oil here. Okay, back under the tractor. Here we go. We got all our pieces. Where's that other tube? There it is. So this guy goes up in there. Oh geez, I just put it in upside down. You dingus, Jarrett. So this guy goes okay, this guy goes up in there. Oh, oh golly. Ah, okay. Kind of a tight fit apparently. So he's up, and then we're gonna take our Baldwin filter, and he's gonna slide on that center shaft, or that center tube, I guess. And then I'm gonna get that tube to come through. And the nice thing about these Baldwin filters is they have O-rings built into them. So this should seal against that bottom plate. Now we're taking just a little bit of ultra gray, and we're just gonna doctor this one spot here where that flaw in the metal is. Gonna smear a little schmoo on there. And then take our drain plug and our bottom lid here, and we're gonna start screwing that sucker back in. Again. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. Grab our dinner roll wrench. I'm assuming that this will bottom out. Okay, we're gonna call that good. And then our drain plug. Right back where it came from here. That gasket looked like it's seen better days, so we're gonna be pretty nice to it here, not over tighten it too much. Okay, that should be it. Let's see what goes here. Now, the reason I just recently got excited to change oil in this thing, and you know, I've been putting it off otherwise. However, while I was at the Tractor Supply store, I found they have Rotella brand SAE straight 30 weight heavy duty diesel oil. I love running 30 weight oil in all my small engines, at least, especially the older stuff. Some of the older cars you can run, like the old Studebakers and stuff like that we had, we ran 30 weight in, or 1540. But this is awesome to see a 30 weight oil, Rotella brand. So we grabbed up 2 gallons of this, and that's what we're putting on our tractor. So So we got 2 gallons. The capacity for this, I believe, is about 6 quarts. Okay, we've got just about 6 quarts in it. It shows just below full. I think there's probably that oil still settling down in there. So let's go ahead and start this thing. Hopefully we've got oil pressures. Throttle. Here we go. For just a minute here, and then we'll verify oil level. We got to let that oil, you know, get warm and see if our old gasket leaks or not. Okay, everything's going to be just fine. Tractor's running great, has better oil pressure than it had. Filter went in there just right. No smoke, no noises, no nothing. So we're just fine. So lesson number 1 we learned, I guess, is if you pull your filter cover down and there is no filter, you can go ahead and relax your pucker muscle a little bit. It ain't the end of the world. It'll still take a filter. I would say that bigger than that is that the screen's in there, because you know that pickup tube's just down there playing around at the bottom of that pan, and it's 1/2 inch diameter or more. So without the screen, if you had a glob of something or a chunk of something in the oil, it could get sucked up into the pump and the circulating system. So that's the bigger thing, probably, that we do have a screen. And second thing is we got the filter in there. There's no leaks. Everything's fine. Just hunky-dory. So let's recap. Go to Tractor Supply. They got good Baldwin filters. They're in the county line box, and I think it was 20 bucks. So probably cheaper than actually buying the Baldwin one. P40, I think. And there's your Tractor Supply numbers. And then at the same store, if you're into Rotella oil like I am, I mean, basically it's the Busch Light of oils, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, you can find T1 straight 30 weight Rotella at the Tractor Supply. Comes in gallon jugs. We put 7 quarts exactly into that thing. I didn't think the little guy held that much, but so now I got to go back to Tractor Supply, get another jug or 2. So that's your TO-20 oil change in a nutshell. Let's get this thing out of here. It is cooling off fast. Mother Nature is just not cooperating with spring. We'll get this put away, get the truck put away, and we're done for the night. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Appreciate you watching. We'll see you on the next video.